"I really thought Nate could have gone all the way," Jeff Probst confessed in a candid behind-the-scenes interview following this week's shocking Survivor 49 episode. The longtime host and executive producer, who's seen hundreds of castaways rise and fall since the series premiered in 2000, admitted that Nate Moore's elimination was one of the hardest to watch, and, for him personally, one of the most heartbreaking. The emotional episode, which aired Wednesday night, saw the 27-year-old sales manager from Portland, Oregon, blindsided in a vote that left fans, and apparently Probst himself, reeling. Nate's exit marks not just a major shift in the season's dynamics, but also a painful reminder of how quickly Survivor can turn from triumph to tragedy in a single tribal council. A shock that rocked the beach. Heading into the episode, Nate had positioned himself as one of the game's most strategic and socially savvy players. He was strong in challenges, sharp in alliances, and likable across tribal lines, a combination that made him a dangerous threat heading toward the merge. But in true Survivor fashion, the tides turned fast. After a chaotic immunity challenge and an even more chaotic post-challenge scramble, Nate found himself on the wrong side of a last-minute flip. "I was blindsided, totally," Nate admitted during his exit interview. "One minute I thought we were going after Jordan, and the next thing I know, everyone's whispering my name. I didn't even have time to process it. That's Survivor, the moment you feel comfortable, you're done." Jeff Probst's emotional reaction. Jeff Probst, who's hosted every single season of the hit CBS series, rarely hides his passion for the game, or for the players who give it their all. But his reaction to Nate's elimination was especially heartfelt. During his On Fire with Jeff Probst podcast, the Emmy-winning host opened up about just how much Nate's departure affected him. "I hated seeing Nate go. I mean that sincerely," Probst said. "From day one, he had this spark, he understood the social game, he had empathy, but he also had that killer instinct you need to win. He reminded me of some of the greats, like Jeremy Collins or Wendell Holland. He had winner energy," Probst continued, explaining that Nate was one of those rare players who seemed to get the emotional and psychological balance of Survivor, when to lead, when to listen, and when to strike. "You can teach strategy," Probst noted. "You can teach people how to find idols, make fire, or win challenges. But you can't teach heart, and Nate had it in spades. That's why his blindside hurt so much. I genuinely thought he could win it all." The blindside heard around the island. The tribal council that sent Nate home will likely go down as one of Survivor 49's defining moments. Fans watched in disbelief as Nate's closest ally, Taylor, flipped her vote at the last minute, joining forces with the opposing alliance to take him out in a stunning 5-3 decision. "I didn't want to do it," Taylor said afterward. "But everyone was saying the same thing, Nate's too strong. If we don't get him now, he'll win." The emotional fallout was immediate. Nate, visibly stunned, simply nodded as his torch was snuffed, whispering, "Good luck, guys," before walking away from tribal council. Even as he was leaving, he handled it with such grace, Probst recalled. "That's when you know someone has that it factor. He didn't lash out, he didn't sulk, he smiled, said thank you, and left with dignity. That's rare in this game." Fan reactions. Outrage and heartbreak. Within minutes of the episode's airing, social media exploded with reactions. Hashtags like #Justice for Nate and #BringBackNate began trending on X, formerly Twitter, with many fans calling it the worst blindside of the season. "Can't believe they took out the one guy who was actually playing the game." One fan wrote, "Nate was my winner pick from day one." Another posted, "Jeff Probst looked so sad when Nate's torch got snuffed. You can tell he didn't want him to go. This hurts." Even former Survivor players chimed in. Season 37 winner Nick Wilson wrote, "Nate had the total package. These players just voted out their own shield." Meanwhile, Survivor 44's Carolyn Weiger tweeted, "No, not Nate. He was playing such a beautiful game. Inside Nate's game, a potential winner cut too soon. What made Nate such a standout contestant?" According to Probst, it was his ability to connect with people, both strategically and emotionally. "He didn't just talk game. He listened," Probst said. "He made people feel seen and heard, and that's a huge part of what makes someone successful on Survivor." Throughout his 5-episode run, Nate built strong relationships across multiple alliances, earning trust while subtly directing votes. His physical prowess also helped secure key wins for his tribe in the early days of the game. "He was that rare mix of brains, brawn, and heart," Probst added. "Those players are the most dangerous, and the most fun to watch." The episode that changed everything. The tension leading up to Nate's elimination was palpable. The episode opened with the tribe fractured after the previous week's chaotic tribal council. Alliances were shaky, and paranoia was at an all-time high. When Nate stepped up as a leader during the immunity challenge, helping his team overcome an early deficit, viewers assumed his stock had only risen. But back at camp, whispers began to spread. Nate's leadership might be turning him into too much of a target. "He's calling the shots now," one contestant was heard saying. "That's dangerous." By the time the tribe headed to tribal council, the writing was on the wall, though Nate didn't see it coming. Probst, reflecting on that night, said, "You could feel the tension. Everyone was pretending to be calm, but the energy was electric. That's when you know a blindside is about to happen." Behind the scenes, Jeff's perspective on the game. Probst has long described Survivor as a social experiment in human behavior, and Nate's elimination perfectly illustrated that idea. "This is why Survivor is still the best reality show on TV," Probst said. "You can be the best player on paper, but if people feel threatened by you, they'll take you out. It's not just about strategy, it's about perception." Probst revealed that even during filming, production could sense Nate's growing momentum, and the unease it created among his competitors. "Every confessional we saw, someone was saying, 'Nate's the guy to beat,'" Probst shared. "When that starts happening, you know it's only a matter of time before the game catches up to you." Nate's next chapter. No regrets. Despite his heartbreak, Nate says he's leaving the island with no bitterness. "I played hard, I played honest, and I had fun," he said. "That's all I could ask for. If I had to lose, I'm glad it was because people respected my game, not because I didn't play one." He also hinted that he'd jump at the chance to return someday. "Survivor 50, call me up," Nate joked. "I've got unfinished business." Probst didn't rule it out either. "I would love to see Nate come back," he said. "He's the kind of player who learns fast, adapts, and doesn't hold grudges. Those are the players who come back stronger." A season full of surprises. With Nate gone, Survivor 49's playing field has been completely reshuffled. The remaining castaways now face an unpredictable merge, and the power dynamics are shifting once again. But one thing is certain, Nate's absence will be felt both in the game and by viewers. "Nate was one of those players who elevated everyone around him," Probst said. "He reminded us why Survivor still matters, because at its core, it's about people trying to figure out how to live, connect, and compete in one of the most intense environments imaginable." The legacy of Nate Moore. As fans process one of the most stunning eliminations of the season, Jeff Probst's words serve as both a tribute and a challenge to future contestants. "Every once in a while, a player comes along who changes the energy of the game," he said. Nate was one of those players. He didn't win, but he played with authenticity and heart. That's what makes him unforgettable. Whether Nate returns for another shot or remains a fan favorite who burned bright and fast, his impact on Survivor 49 is undeniable. As Probst summed it up best, "I hated seeing him go, because for a moment there, I really believed we were watching the next great Survivor champion."